Hey guys, it's me again, Orc Slurrodus. Where I last left off, let's see. Checking. Where I last left off, Deku essentially got stopped at the same round he would like last time. He defeated Shinzo he gave Shinzo one of his other guns that had the specialized ammo. 2 shots for each gun. Deku won that fight. Todoroki and Deku lost after he got thrown away. He couldn't quite get past Todoroki's defensives with the ammo he had on hand. And the sports festival went along as it typically would, with Bakugo winning, quote unquote, because everyone knows he probably maybe would have lost if Todoroki had used his fire, but you know how that one goes. Deku is then, eventually Deku gets the rest of the thing off. Sorry. I get hair sometimes still. But anyways, with that being said, Deku and them still have the whole... Deku still tries to talk with Ida about, oh, what happened with your brother Tensei? Heard he was almost killed. And then they skip to the whole naming class. Bakugo still does the whole, I think it was King Explosion Murder, which is just a dumb name. How does he think that name sounds cool, King Explosion Murderer? Seriously, stupid name. Anyways, as Deku is thinking about his thing, his dad's called Snipe. So, what should his name be? He's thinking about it. He's thinking and thinking, trying to roll around several names. As he comes to a conclusion, he's thinking, cowboy names. He can't name himself the Lone Ranger, because, it's not like he's gonna be alone. He thinks, when he gets older and such, he'd pretty much work with his dad. So he's trying to find things that would make sense. So as he comes up with this name, and the name is the Huntsman, which huntsman typically means he's in charge of hounds, but in this case he makes the pitch that my bullet, as they're wait, as someone knows the saying, aren't huntsmen in charge of hounds? He's my guns are my hounds, and they'll find anyone who tries to hide. As some people actually kind of are okay, that name is actually, as everyone sort of says, yeah, the name's pretty cool, Midoriya. As then they get that flow of papers, as Deku is who to go with. As he even gets one from his dad, as his dad's actually goes to Deku and knocks on the door after class saying, hey, as he hands him this, want to give you this, I need someone I can rely on. And he's what is it? He's I'm going to Hosu. He's wait, isn't that where the hero killer? I figure it'd be a fun bonding mission for me and you. As he puts a hand over his arm over Deku's shoulder, he's I want to make sure you get your first thing done right. Besides, as he says, I'd like to see how you do in the actual hero world. Evaluate, you would say. As he's sure, Dad, I wouldn't mind doing it. As he's trying to keep calm, since he doesn't get to spend a lot of time with his dad, since he was typically constantly busy with hero work at one point. So he relishes any time he gets to spend with his parents. So now he's heard that he gets to go on official hero business with his dad. He's sort of getting really excited. As he says, hey, I got an idea. A friend of mine I think I heard somebody, another guy, Tenya Ida, he's oh yeah, Ingenium's kid. Shame what happened to him. He's as he's look, Dad, I'm gonna level with you. I think he may do something stupid. I'm not sure, but I'd say it'd just be good to have him close at hand. official recommendation from a hero in Hosu, they're going to stay away from Stain or get close to him. As he's like, you got a point. As he sees Ida walking away, he's like, contact Ida. I want to send him a place. As he gets in touch and actually sends him the thing saying, Deku and I are going to go on a hunt for the hero killer. As he paints it in a different picture saying that, we wanted to know if you wanted to tag along. As he says, we'll ensure that he doesn't get away. And 3 people are better than 1 Ida. So, come on. If you wanna. As Ida does come along saying, thank you for inviting me, being very polite. As Snipe met them at the station, as he's like, alright, so we're gonna be staying at this station right here. It's like, alright. As they get on their way. And they do patrols during the day and night. Snipe is a very active hero. He uses, like I said, he goes day and night. And Ida is sometimes, like, tired out from, like, constantly, well, not constantly, but Snipe doesn't take a lot of rest. He usually, like, gets up early in the morning, like, really early, drinks some coffee, gets some food and such, be it Japanese food, or some normal other food, like, grits, ham, spam, anything really like that. They all get up and get to work. As with Deku and Ida, or as they're known, well, as Ida is known as Ida, as some people get reports as it looks like it's Snipe, and as they say, as we are looking at, and a new hero that looks very similar, and he is also using guns, along with what seems to be another student. Has Snipe taken on 2 new apprentices? As they're like, can we get some information? As they start talking with Snipe, as Deku says, he's walking over at Ida as they're like tying up some villains. It's like, good thing I have this lasso with us. My dad typically would probably prefer, like, handcuffs and such, but you know. He's like, so Ida, when are you gonna run off, chase the hero killer, Me and my dad have got a pretty good idea. And I don't know you that well, but I know you enough to know you're irrational when it comes to the whole family bond. But here's the thing. Keep your head cool and we'll get Stain behind bars before you know it. As he is playing with his pistol, as his dad gestures for them to get over there, as Deku grabs the criminals and just drag them over. He's like, oh yeah, the cops here yet, Dad? As he he goes to say Dad, but then changes it as he goes Snipe. As he's like, yeah, that's right, Huntsman. They'll be here soon. As the reporters, like a couple of them, are like, can we get your names and hero names and who are you? He's like, as he's like, I'm Huntsman and I'm interning with Snipe here from UA. As Deku isn't used to the whole people getting up in his face and such, since his dad pretty much kept the tone about, oh yeah, he has a family and such on the down low, since Snipe likes to keep some of that stuff on, like I said, down low. Sorry if I'm contradicting myself, but people, it's not like he keeps it private. He just doesn't talk openly about it. He's like, yeah, I got a wife and kid. No. He'd just, keep that to himself. And anyone asked, he'd say yes, but he wouldn't go yeah, I got them. And as for the same, Deku really was just very chill about it. If people asked who his parents were, he just straight up say it. Ida also, a very similar thing to Ida. He doesn't want people treating him differently just because, well, scratch that. He just tells them straight face, because if they start acting differently, he knows that it's because they didn't know who my parents were. So Ida does the whole thing about telling them and such about him, and he was offered the chance by Snipe to come interning at him with him, get experience and such, since Stain is a very combat oriented hero. As he says, now if you wouldn't mind, we gotta get going. As the cops arrive and they take the villains away. As they do this for a couple days, one night. until eventually, like, they're riding around. It's like, so when do you think? As then the man, like the hero killer, does the whole, or the League of Villains unleash Nomu. As Deku says, "All right, okay, this is a big thing." As they run off, run off to go deal with this. As Deku thinks, as Ida does run off, eventually, as Deku's like, "What the?" As they're dealing with, there's a couple more Nomu. Nothing, like, major, just, like, somewhat powerful ones. As Deku and his dad are fighting them, as Deku looks around, he's like, what? Where the hell did Ida go? As Snipe's like, "Grr!" As Deku's like, flashbang. As, like, "Cover your eyes, Dad." As he throws up the flashbang. As Nomu also are affected by it, as then he's like, "Real bullets in it, switched." As then he just jumps on the thing and just blasts it several times in the brain. He's like, "Dad, you got one on your left?" As he takes down that Nomu, he's like, annoying. So he reloads his ammo. He's like, "Dad, I think Ada went after a hero killer." He's like, "Listen, Dad, you go find out what's happening around here. I'm gonna go see if I can find that dumbass." As he starts running off, he's like, "Swear to God." Swear to God, he's an idiot. As he eventually, like, is running around, eventually finding out, like, thinking about, if I was a killer, where would I be? If I was a killer, it's like alleyways, dark alleyways, nobody would be here. As he's running around, and just by luck, he eventually finds Ida with the hole, about to be stabbed to death. As Ida still let his emotions cloud his mind, the idiot. As then Deku, like, as Stain's about to do it, Deku's like, as he throws a flashbang, as Stain's like, "Huh?" As it lands right on the ground, as he's like, "What?" As he goes to jump back and cover his eyes, Ida's like, "Oh, what the?" As Deku's rushing forward with two guns, firing, he's like, "Get out of here, you vulture!" As he's firing at Stain, he's like, "Damn it!" As he rolls back, as Stain threw a knife, he's like, "You think that's gonna catch me off guard? Come on, swordsman, I got guns. Which are better?" Stain's like, "Another false hero." He's like, "Oh, shut it, you crazy psychopath. You either get brought in or you get gunned down. Make your choice now." He's like, "Oh, and what are you, some sort of cowboy?" "I attempt to be." As then he's like, "Alright, you want to do this the hard way." As he's like, "Oh, I wish I had a machine gun at some points like this. So much easier." As he's knows he can't really just kill Stain, he's like, "Alright, there's just Ida." As then he's like, fiddle shits." As he looks over and sees Native, he's like, "Alright, looks like I gotta stand my ground." As if he does send the thing to Todoroki. They still have that, like, weird thing. Yeah. As Todoroki gets the messages and runs off. At this point, Snipe is helping the heroes deal with the Nomu, as he just pretty much blasts them in their head, trying to take down the flying Nomu, who keeps on flying around causing pain to the, like, people. And Deku's like, "Come on," as he's like pretty much dueling Stain with a couple of pistols, as he, like, slams the pistols into his sword. As his pistols are getting damaged, he's like, "Ugh." He's like, "Man." As he's like, "Wait a second." As he switches to his backup, and he switches to his knife and his lever action. He's like, as he's like, Stain's like, "What are you waiting for? Come." As Deku's standing his ground, he's like, "If I rush at you, you get to kill them. Ain't how it works, creep. Come on." As he's barely, like, when Stain's going to stab him and slice him, he's, like, barely dodging. And sometimes the only reason why he doesn't get cut is because of his, like, some of his, like, metal armor that he has that blocks Stain's attacks. He's like, "Yeah, unlike many heroes, I prefer some armor to keep myself calm." As then he fires several times at Stain using lever action, like, bang, as he, like, uses, like, he shoots with the lever action. Like, out of ammo, as he switches. In that split second that he was switching to guns, he gets sliced right on the upper arm. He's like, shoot! As Stain goes to lick the bullet, Deku lifts the pistol and is able to get him right into the center of the forehead with a shock round as Stain gets like and falls over. He's like, alright. As he rushes over and shoots Stain a couple more times with the shock rounds. Yes, Deku had them on him because he's not going to kill every villain. As he's like tying Stain up, he's like, come on, this is very durable fiber instead of just normal rope. As he wraps Deku up, as Deku wraps him up, he hog ties him. He's like, yep, that should work. As he's like kicking Ida, like, get up. As eventually Todoroki comes around, as he's like, Midoriya, are you alright? As Deku's sitting there, like, next to Hero Killer, he's like, oh. Thankfully, yes. As then he's like about, like, Stain, like, starts to thrash around, he's like, oh, stop it. As Deku pretty much punches him several times in the face. Until Stain is unconscious. As he was just, like, slamming him into the chin, just like, just knock yourself out. As with like the 8th punch in a row, Stain is finally knocked out as he's like, oh. It's like, oh god. Hey, you, Ida, can you get up? Ida's like, I can feel my hands. He's like, what about you? As he like touches Native in the face. He's like, no. As Deku's like, well, as he like picks him up on his shoulder, says, Ida, get up. He's like eventually able to get up. He's like, Todoroki, help Ida carry whatever this guy's name is. It's ironic, the cowboy saving the Native American. As then he grabs Stain and just sort of drags him along, just like do 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 do. Deku eventually just like just getting tired as he turns over a mailbox as he's like, Deku, what are you doing? Sitting. I can't very well sit on Stain here, now can I? It's like, as everyone eventually shows up, seeing Stain hog-tied, Ida and all of them injured, except like Deku injured kinda a little bit as well. He's like, well, things could have gone a lot worse. And eventually, like with the whole, you know, Snipe does show up. Eventually, there was no there was no Gran Torino this time, since he had no reason to go to Hosu. Not to train anyone, because Muriel has the whole one for all. I'll say at this point, I didn't give, Muriel, if I don't give the thing to Deku, I typically just give it to Muriel. Yeah. Well, anyways, as Muriel has it, he didn't really have a reason, you know, since he's just always hanging out with Night Eye. Deku's just like, oh, this is so annoying. As they ask, so what's your name? Huntsman. And my friend here right now is this Hero Killer Stain. That's Ida. That's Todoroki. And that's whoever his name is. I don't care. As he's sitting there, as Deku gets up and stretches, well, let's get going, shall we? As he's like stretching, eventually the Nomu comes and grabs him. He's like, what the? As he's like going, as even Endeavor eventually shows up. Deku's like, what the? As he's like fidgeting around as it's raising him in the air. He's grabbing onto its like legs, but its talons are digging into him. He's like, oh, shoot. As he reaches around and eventually grabs his knife, he's like, he grabs it and starts, like, he cuts off a leg as he's like, oh, God. As he is able to pry open the other leg. As the thing is flailing around at this point, he sort of gets his knife, after, like, he's, like, holding on, like, death grip right now. stabbing, like slices into a wing and like messes with it as it starts to go falling to the ground. He's like, come on, big boy, come on. Then he's like, all right, no, fuck this. As he grabs his knife and just starts sort of stabbing it right into the chest. Eventually just like, oh god. As he does it in the head, he's like, all right, as he crashes onto a building, he's like, ow, oh, ow. As he gets up, he's like, that could have gone much better. As he's like, oh, I think I bruised the rib on that fall. He's like, as his hat, he's like, where the hell is my hat? As he does have a cowboy hat. He's feeling around, he's like, as he shout, like he's a little whiles away, he's like, so he goes to step, eventually a hand comes out, he's like, oh shoot, up a portal, he's like, oh come on, this is when I think I get away and he's like, come on, it's like, oh crap, as he's like, it goes, grabs a pistol and fires as he has to as Shigaraki's just like, the bullets just sent up into the air, he's like, I can't win this fight, as he just sort of rolls backward, throwing a smoke in a flashbang, and just like bang, as Kurogiri just takes the body away. He's like, nope, as he's running away, as Shigaraki's like, bastard killed another Nomu, as he's like doing the whole scratching his neck. Master will not be pleased. As Kurogiri is like, Tomura, time to back off, as they go to the hideout again. He's running down the street, he's like, as he eventually reaches to the rest of them, as they like came running after him, he's like, I'm alright. Oh, as he's like, just give me a breather. Where's my water? Where's my canteen? So he's feeling around, he's like, my canteen's gone. He looks over to a vending machine, he's like, anyone got some money? As someone just like hands him like some money, he's like, water. Eventually his dad catches up after he like made sure that none of the other Nomus were alive or survived. As Endeavor says, who are you? He's like, sup, I'm Huntsman. As then Snipe's like, Deku, are you alright? He's like, yes, Dad, I'm alright. As he's taking a seat, God, that gave me a heart attack. As he's like, oh. Snipe's like, alright. He's like, Endeavor's like, I was not aware you have a son. As he's like, yeah, I don't typically preach that out now, do I? As Deku says, alright, where's the hero killer? I call dibs on claiming the reward. It's like, reward? There's like, yeah, he has like 500, like he has 50,000 yen on his head or something. There's like a reward from the Hero Association to any hero or police officer that brings him in. He's like, the huntsman, yeah. He's like, I'm afraid, hang on, let's not say I can't claim the reward. You know what, how about this? We split it 50-50. Come on, that's at least what I deserve. That's kind of stupid if I don't. As they're like debating, Deku's debating with them, he's like, come on, it's not even like I used my quirk. We were in a corridor. What'd be the point? It's literally straight shot firing. He was fast as hell. It didn't even matter if I used my quirk. As he's making a point, saying, I deserve that money. You can't take it from me. As everyone, like, as Deku's fighting, like, it's mine. As he's not obsessed with the thing of fame, but he wants what he's owed. As if anyone's gonna get punished, make it Ida. As Ida's like, wait, what the? As Totoro, as Ida's like, wait, Midoriya, what are you? You're the idiot who went off after him. If you had waited, me and my dad could have tagged along, but no, you wanted to go off by yourself, huh? As Ida's like, hey, now that, he's like, that's true, and you know it, shut it. As then he's talking even more with Endeavor, as eventually everyone comes to an understanding that they'll split it 50-50. 50% of the fame with Deku, 50% of the fame with Endeavor. As he's like, haha, suck it. As Endeavor's like, alright, your son is quite different than from you, Snipe. He's like, yeah, he's hot, young, and hot-blooded. I was kind of like him at a point, I believe. But anyways, let's all go home and enjoy a nice night. As Ida gets their wounds tended to, as Deku says, as Snipe's like, oh, also, is your arm good? He's like, it was just a cut. Didn't cut me that deep. I think he actually kind of liked me. Now, with how messed up that sounds. He's like, well, I'm gonna go, as he, like, cracks his neck, to sleep. Hope you all have a nice day. As he walks away. Well, not walks away, but he, like, gets his name loaded in, and then it's like a headline for new Endeavor and new promising new hero from UA. Huntsman took down the hero killer, as it's like plastered all over the news on how the new hero Huntsman took down the hero killer and also saved 2 other heroes' lives, as it's like big news in the town. Anyways, I hope y'all have enjoyed this, hope y'all continue to enjoy it, and I hope y'all have a nice day, nice night, nice life.